Hi guys, I'm back again today with another reaction video, and today we're checking out who is the real owner of Sabah, the Philippines and Malaysia territorial dispute. So let's see. Yeah, the first time I've ever came across like Sabah in a reaction video, a lot of people were like saying this is super close to the Philippines. It's very close by, like super. So I'm really excited to check this out. Well, before we do start, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell button, and let's get it. And yes, I'm in the Philippines.
When understanding the long territorial disputes of Sabah, between the federal government of
Sabah.
Malaysia and the Philippines, presenting itself as the successor state of the Sultanate of Sulu, and how the arbitrary award worth $14.9 billion was awarded to the heirs of the Sultanate.
Oh
We must go
wow.
back to its history, and its geographical location.
Do we truly wanna
Sabah is
acquire Sabah,
located
to be
on the northern
honest?
portion of the island of
Like,
Borneo.
do we have time to take care of another place, right? Like, does Philippines, like, can we just focus on what we have right now and like work with what we got and like grow what we have instead of like trying to, I know there's resources and maybe a lot of beautiful stuff that we would want from Sabah, but are we ready? Like, are we truly ready? It's basically like having kids and then you want to adapt more kids or kid, right, into your household, and you don't even have sufficient like funds for the kids that you already have. So it's kind of like, what are we doing with our lives, right, Philippines? But we'll see.
In Southeast Asia. In the present day, Sabah is one of the 13 states, together with its 3 federal territories that compose the Federation of Malaysia. Going back to the 15th century, the settlement currently known as Sabah had become part of the empire of the Sultanate of Brunei, during the reign of the 5th Sultan, known as Bolkiah.
Mm.
In 1658, the Sultan of Brunei ceded the northern and eastern portion of Borneo to the Sultanate of Sulu, in compensation for the latter's help in settling the Brunei Civil War in the Brunei Sultanate. In 1761, Alexander Dalrymple, an officer of the British East India Company, concluded an agreement with the Sultan of Sulu to allow him to set up a trading post in the region. It was been formalized in 1878, when William Cowie, on behalf of Dent's Company, negotiated and obtained a concession in perpetuity from the Sultan of Sulu over its holdings in this region. This concession was signed on the 22nd of January 1878 in the palace of the Sultan of Sulu. The rights were subsequently transferred to
Oh
Alfred
wow.
Dent, who on the 26th of August 1881 formed the British North Borneo Provisional Association Limited. A few months after, the British government granted a royal charter, and the British North Borneo Chartered Company was subsequently formed on the 1st of November. In 1888, North Borneo became a protectorate of the United Kingdom. The control and administration over North Borneo remained in the hands of the company despite being a protectorate, and they effectively ruled until 1942. During the Second World War, as part of the continuous expansion of the Empire of Japan, the North Borneo island including Sabah was occupied by the Japanese from 1942 to 1945. In
Mm.
1945, after the liberation from Japanese occupation, North Borneo was administered by the British Military Administration and became a British Crown colony, until mid-1946. After the Philippines' independence from the United States on July 4, 1946, 7 British-controlled islands on the northern coast of Borneo named Turtle Islands including Cagayan de Tawi-Tawi and Mangsi Islands were ceded to the Philippine government by the Crown Colony Government of North Borneo. But Sabah still remained part of the British Crown Colony, until August 31, 1963 when North Borneo attained self-government from the British Empire. Between 1961 to mid-1963, during the transition of the liberation of Sabah and the formation of Malaysia, the Kabold Commission was set up to determine whether the people of Sabah and Sarawak favored the proposed union. The commission had found that the union was generally favored by the residents but also noted some opposition from the people but decided that such opposition was minor. Despite the
Oh.
opposition, the Commission made the recommendation without any referendum conducted, unlike the referendum conducted in Singapore. As reported by the Commission, ethnic community leaders of Sabah would eventually support the formation. Despite of some opposition, an agreement was signed. And William Good, the last governor of North Borneo, signed on behalf of the territory on the 1st of August 1962, putting to paper the agreement to form the Union. Initially, the unification of Sabah to Malaysia was scheduled on August 31, 1963, but due to objections from the Philippines and Indonesia, the formation had to be postponed to the 16th of September 1963. At that time, North Borneo, currently known as Sabah, was united with Malaya, Sarawak, and Singapore, to form Malaysia. On the 12th of September 1962, during President Diosdado Macapagal's administration, the Philippine government claimed the territory of North Borneo, and the full sovereignty, title, and dominion over it were ceded by the heirs of the Sultan of Sulu, Muhammad Ismail E. Kiram I, to the Republic of the Philippines. By then, the Philippines continued this territorial claim over North Borneo, based on an agreement signed in 1878 between the Sultan of Sulu and the North Borneo Chartered Company. It maintains the position that the sovereignty of the Sultanate over the territory was not abolished, and that North Borneo was only leased to the North Borneo Chartered Company. However, Malaysia considers this dispute as a non-issue, as it interprets the 1878 agreement as a form of cession, and it deems that the residents of Sabah had exercised their right to self-determination when they joined to form the Malaysian Federation in 1963.
Oh, I see.
The argument is rooted in the word Pajakan in the North Borneo 1878 treaty, on how it should be properly interpreted. The ambiguous term Pajakan, a Malay term that could be translated as, to lease, or to grant and cede. In Sulu and Malay, the word Pajakan essentially means that the land is pawned in perpetuity for the annual cession money, and the Sultanate would need to repay the entire infinite value of the territory to redeem it back, and the term Selama-Lama, which means forever or in perpetuity, indicates a binding effect beyond the lifetime of the Sultan. Throughout the British administration of North Borneo, the British government continued to make the annual cession money payment to the Sultan and his heirs, and these payments were expressly shown in the receipts as cession money. In 1963, during the meeting of Mafi Lindo, a sub-regional association in Southeast Asia between Malaysia, the Philippines, and Indonesia, the heirs of the Sultanate of Sulu requested payment through the Philippines government to the federal state of Malaysia. The request has been granted by Kuala Lumpur, and the Malaysian government pays an amount considered as a cession, while the Sultanate of Sulu considered the payment as a rental. The annual payment was halted after a private militant junta standoff. The annual payment was also the reason why the word Pajakan in the 1878 treaty was interpreted as leased, since the nature of the lease involved the periodic payment in terms or in perpetuity. To counter this claim, Malaysia halted its payment for the reason that no one has in control over Sabah, but it opposed the hundreds of years of annual payment from the British Empire, and from the new form Malaysian Federation from 1963 to 2013. After the denial of the Malaysian government's continuance of annual rental payment, which is considered a breach of contract of the treaty, the heirs of the Sulu Sultanate initiated proceedings of commercial arbitration in November 2017 against the government of Malaysia in Madrid High Court, Spain.
Wow.
When the heirs of the Sultanate of Sulu filed claims in February 2018, Malaysia did not send any representatives to repeal the dispute. Malaysia did not participate or intervene in any of the proceedings except between the 25th of October 2019 and the 18th of November 2019 and the 5th of July 2021. A preliminary award was given to heirs of the Sultanate of Sulu in May 2020. Malaysia then filed a countersuit in the High Court of Madrid. Afterward, the venue of arbitration was later moved to the French Arbitration Court.
Oh,
A
wow.
French arbitration court in February ordered Malaysia to pay the sum to the descendants of the last Sultan of Sulu to settle a dispute over a colonial-era land
That's a
deal.
lot.
The claimants last week moved to seize worth $2 billion of two Luxembourg-based units of Malaysian state oil firm Petronas as part of efforts to enforce the award. Now, Malaysian assets are at risk globally in a bid to enforce a $14.9 billion arbitration award won by the heirs of the Sultanate of Sulu. Though recently, Malaysia obtained a stayed ruling from the Paris Court of Appeal, in the perception that enforcement of the award could infringe the country's sovereignty. However, the stay ruling only applies to France, while the arbitration award is applicable to the 168 states, where any Malaysian government-owned asset within nations party to the UN Convention is eligible for the purposes of enforcing the award. So, who is the real owner of Sabah? Apparently, Sabah is technically part of the federal state of Malaysia currently, when North Borneo was incorporated into the federation in 1963. But in the future, the thing seems uncertain. Currently, the arbitrary battle is between the heirs of the Sultan, a private Filipino citizen, and the Malaysian government. The Philippine government could step up and represent the heirs of the Sultanate of Sulu as the successor of North Borneo. If ever, the 1878 treaty is still binding and enforceable, the non-payment of Malaysia of an annual rental since 2013 could result in a breach of contract, and as a consequence, the control and ownership of North Borneo can be taken back by the owner or to the heirs of the Sultanate of Sulu. This could be the reason why the arbitrary court in France awarded $14.9 billion, a bigger amount compared to the unpaid annual session money for 9 years. However, the Malaysian government won't budge an inch over Sabah and created a task force that has been set up to study all of Malaysia's overseas assets and protect the security and sovereignty of Sabah. But the real question is, was the incorporation of Sabah into the Malaysian Federation as legal and binding, based on the 1878 treaty between the Sultanate of Sulu and the British Empire? Or the 1878 concession treaty has a legal basis in the present day's international law system? Either way, both countries must respect any authorized arbitrary proceeding issued by the International Court, and be able to create a diplomatic concession for a peaceful resolution of the issue.
True. Oh wow, I didn't even know this was going on. Didn't know this was going on. I just thought it's super close to Philippines. That's all. I didn't think that it was a Philippine territory that was leased way back when, right? I just thought, oh, we're just neighbors and hi, hello, we look the same and sound the same and dress the same, right? Like we have this almost close to similar customs and traditions. But I never thought, oh my, um, wow, this is I feel bad for the people of Sabah, of course, because like they're just caught in the middle. They're caught in the middle of Malaysia not obviously paying up, and the Sulu part of the Philippines is trying to get their payments, and if they don't, they want to take back their land. So it's kind of like, oh, what's happening? And obviously the Philippine government's not involved yet. We don't know if we will ever get involved. What's gonna happen for the future of Sabah? We have no idea. But I hope for the best, of course. I hope that it gets resolved peacefully. And also, as long as the people are happy, that's all that matters, right? We don't want anything that is going to cause the people of Sabah any sort of like harm. So whatever happens, I hope that it happens in a very civil, peaceful manner. Regardless of where Sabah is gonna be under, as long as the majority of the people are okay with that, right? I hope that Sulu and Philippine and Malaysia I feel like they'll come to a beautiful agreement. I, this is me giving them the benefits of the doubt, but I think so. Especially when I don't wanna say anything because I don't know anything about it. I mean, I'm just so clueless, so I don't want to say the wrong things. So let me know in a comment if you have more information about this, updates about this topic, because this was in July of last year. So what is the updated news on this? Let me know down in the comments, or is there another video we can watch to kind of like keep us up to date? Well, if you like this video, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.